Long before modern truck brands dominated the roads, one company built vehicles that Britain depended on every single day. They worked through war, recovery, and expansion. Most people saw them as ordinary lorries, but the truth behind their design and influence is far bigger than it first appears. This is the story of 10 AEC lorries that dominated the British haulage. Starting with number 10, we have AEC Mercury. The AEC Mercury played a crucial role in British road transport, even though it rarely received the recognition given to heavier haulage models. Introduced in various forms before the Second World War and re-established in the post-war years, the Mercury became one of AEC's most dependable medium-duty lorries. Post-war Britain needed practical transport more than anything else. Cities had to be cleaned, goods had to move between depots, and local authorities required vehicles that could operate daily with minimal downtime. The Mercury filled that role perfectly. It was lighter than trunking tractors like the Mandator, but stronger than smaller delivery lorries, making it ideal for regional haulage and municipal work. Mercury lorries were commonly seen with refuse bodies, box vans, flatbeds, and specialist municipal equipment. Their mechanical simplicity made them popular with councils and smaller haulage firms that relied on in-house maintenance. Operators valued the Mercury not for speed or prestige, but for reliability and predictable running costs. Today, Mercury survivors are becoming harder to find. Many were worked hard for decades and scrapped once their service life ended. As collectors begin to focus on the vehicles that kept Britain moving day to day, the Mercury's importance is finally being recognised. At number 9, we have AEC Monarch. The AEC Monarch was one of the company's most important heavy lorries during the interwar and post-war periods. Introduced in the early 1930s, the Monarch sat above the Mercury and was designed for operators who required greater payload capacity and stronger performance on longer routes. From the outset, the Monarch established itself as a serious working vehicle. Available in multiple wheelbase configurations, it could be supplied as both a rigid lorry and a tractor unit. This flexibility allowed it to serve a wide range of industries, from general haulage and trunk distribution to specialist operations. As diesel engines became more common, the Monarch evolved to meet changing demands. The Monarch's long production run and extensive export success demonstrated its importance beyond Britain alone. It helped establish AEC as a global commercial vehicle manufacturer, and today it stands as one of the company's most respected haulage platforms. At number 8, we have AEC Militant. The AEC Militant is often associated with military service, but its impact on civilian haulage should not be underestimated. Developed as a post-war evolution of the Matador, the Militant was designed as a 6-wheel lorry and tractor capable of operating under extreme conditions. Built for strength rather than comfort, the Militant featured a heavily reinforced chassis and powerful AEC diesel engines. In military service, it handled artillery towing, recovery work, and heavy logistics duties. Its reliability under pressure made it a favourite with the Ministry of Defence. After leaving military service, many militants found second lives in civilian haulage. Heavy haulage firms adopted them for moving transformers, boilers, and industrial machinery. The Militant's longevity is one of its defining traits. Some examples remained operational into the 1980s, a testament to AEC's engineering philosophy. Today, Militants are highly sought after by enthusiasts who appreciate their rugged design and unique place in British transport history. At number 7, we have AEC Mammoth. The AEC Mammoth was one of the earliest British lorries designed specifically for heavy rigid haulage. Introduced in the 1930s, it marked a major step forward in payload capability at a time when road transport was rapidly expanding. With its 6-wheel configuration and robust chassis, the Mammoth was built to handle loads that 4-wheel lorries could not safely manage. The Mammoth's success was not based on comfort or speed, but on durability. It was designed to operate on poor roads, in rough environments, and under constant heavy loading. This made it invaluable during periods of industrial growth and post-war reconstruction. The Mammoth laid the foundation for AEC's later heavy rigid designs. Without it, the Mammoth Major may never have existed, its contribution to British haulage was fundamental, even if it is less remembered today. At number 6, we have AEC Mandator. Few names in British haulage carry the weight of the Mandator. Emerging from earlier AEC designs and gaining prominence in the post-war era, the Mandator became synonymous with long-distance trunk haulage. Designed primarily as an articulated tractor unit, the Mandator was built to move heavy loads between Britain's major cities. As the motorway network expanded, Mandators became familiar sights on routes linking London, Birmingham, Manchester and beyond. Operators valued the Mandator for its steady cruising ability, robust diesel engines and predictable handling. It was not flashy, but it was dependable. Fleet operators and independent hauliers alike trusted it for schedules that could not afford delays. Over multiple updates, the Mandator remained competitive into the 1960s. Its reputation was such that many drivers considered it a benchmark for British trunking lorries. At number 5, we have AEC Matador. The AEC Matador earned legendary status during the Second World War, but its importance did not end when the fighting stopped. In many ways, the Matador's most overlooked contribution came after 1945, when Britain faced the enormous task of rebuilding its damaged infrastructure and industrial base. Originally designed as a four-wheel drive artillery tractor, the Matador was engineered to operate in conditions far worse than ordinary road haulage. During the war, these qualities made it invaluable for towing artillery and equipment. After the war, those same traits made it perfectly suited to civilian heavy work. As the British Army began disposing of surplus vehicles, thousands of Matadors entered civilian hands. Forestry companies were among the first to recognise their value. Quarry operators and construction firms followed, using Matadors to move materials across rough sites that were still scarred by wartime damage. The Matador also became a common sight in heavy recovery roles. Its ability to tow stranded lorries, overturned vehicles, and damaged equipment made it popular with recovery firms and local authorities. In many areas, Matadors were used to clear debris from bomb-damaged streets, assist with bridge repairs, and support large civil engineering projects. Operators valued the Matador because it simply worked. It could be repaired with basic tools, tolerated hard use, and continued operating in environments that destroyed lesser vehicles. Today, the Matador is remembered as one of the toughest British vehicles ever built. At number 4, we have AEC Mammoth Major. The AEC Mammoth Major stands as one of the most important heavy, rigid lorries ever produced in Britain. Introduced in the late 1940s, it arrived at a moment when the country desperately needed vehicles capable of moving vast quantities of raw materials for reconstruction and industrial growth. Building on earlier Mammoth designs, the Mammoth Major was engineered specifically for heavy payloads. It was offered in both 6-wheel and 8-wheel configurations, allowing operators to match the vehicle to their exact needs. This flexibility made it especially attractive to quarry owners, construction firms, and industrial operators. The Mammoth Major's strength lay in its chassis and running gear. Reinforced frame rails, heavy-duty axles, and proven AEC diesel engines allowed it to carry stone, sand, gravel, and other bulk materials day after day. Quarry haulage became the Mammoth Major's natural home. These vehicles worked in harsh environments, climbing steep access roads, operating on loose surfaces, and enduring constant shock loads from tipping bodies. Operators valued the Mammoth Major because it could withstand punishment that would cripple lesser lorries. Another key factor in the Mammoth Major's success was maintenance. Parts availability remained strong for decades, and its mechanical layout was straightforward. Many operators kept Mammoth Majors running far beyond their expected service life, rebuilding engines and drivetrains rather than replacing the entire vehicle. By the 1950s and 1960s, the Mammoth Major had become a defining presence in British aggregates and construction transport. Its dominance was so complete that competitors were often judged against it rather than the other way around. Even today, it is remembered as the benchmark British heavy rigid lorry. At number 3 we have AEC Marshall. The AEC Marshall was one of the most adaptable lorries AEC ever produced, offering a perfect balance between medium and heavy-duty capability. Introduced in the late 1950s, it quickly became a favourite among operators who needed a reliable chassis that could handle almost any job placed in front of it. Marshall chassis were commonly fitted with tanker bodies, box vans, flatbeds, and specialist equipment for construction and municipal duties. Whether carrying fuel, general freight or industrial materials, the Marshall delivered steady performance on both regional runs and longer trunk routes. Its design offered enough strength for demanding work, while remaining efficient and easy to maintain. A major strength of the Marshall was its flexibility. Operators could choose from multiple wheelbases, axle layouts and engine options, allowing them to tailor the vehicle to their exact business needs. This made the Marshall popular with both large fleet operators and smaller, independent hauliers who valued equipment that could be configured without excessive cost. Drivers appreciated the Marshall for its predictable handling and smooth-running AEC diesel engines. Fleet managers valued its reliability and the availability of parts, which kept downtime low and operating costs manageable. Through the 1960s and early 1970s, the Marshall became a common sight on Britain's roads, working quietly but tirelessly. It may not have attracted as much attention as AEC's bigger names, but its contribution was undeniable. The Marshall earned its place as one of AEC's most important and hard-working haulage platforms. At number 2 we have AEC Mandator with AV760. By the late 1960s, British haulage was changing rapidly. Motorways were expanding, average journey lengths were increasing, and operators demanded more power and refinement from their vehicles. In response, later AEC Mandators were offered with the AV766 cylinder diesel engine. These Mandators represented the final evolution of AEC's long-distance trunk haulage philosophy. The AV760 delivered improved power and torque compared to earlier engines, allowing Mandators to maintain higher cruising speeds on motorway routes while handling heavier loads. Paired with updated transmissions and improved cab designs, these later Mandators offered a more comfortable driving experience. Drivers benefited from reduced fatigue, better noise insulation, and improved ergonomics, which became increasingly important as journeys grew longer. These vehicles also marked a turning point in British commercial vehicle history. Under Leyland ownership, the AEC brand was gradually phased out, and the Mandator with AV760 became one of the last true expressions of AEC engineering identity. Today, these Mandators are seen as symbols of transition. They represent both the peak of AEC's trunking expertise and the end of an era in British truck manufacturing. Finally, at number 1, we have AEC Mammoth Major with Ergomatic cab. The ultimate expression of AEC heavy haulage arrived with later Mammoth Major models fitted with the Ergomatic cab. This combination brought together immense payload capability with a significant leap forward in driver comfort and safety. The Ergomatic cab was a major departure from earlier designs. It featured improved visibility through larger glass areas, better seating, and more effective sound insulation. These changes reduced driver fatigue and improved working conditions, especially in demanding quarry and construction environments. Underneath the cab, the Mammoth Major retained everything that made it legendary. Heavy-duty axles, reinforced chassis rails, and proven diesel engines ensured that performance and durability were never compromised in pursuit of comfort. When AEC's Southall works closed in 1979, it marked the end of commercial vehicle production that had begun in 1912. By then, AEC Lorries had carried Britain through war, reconstruction, and industrial growth. These vehicles were more than machines. They were the backbone of British haulage history.